Got the violins going. That means it's the last match.
That is what it means.
Yes.
It's the final boss.
This is it. This is the last level. We're about to close out the round of 8. And, you know, it's hard to say I don't know who you want to move on, but for me, I don't know. I mean, I would like to have a Zerg in the Final Four. I also would like to not have a Zerg in the Final Four and to just really stick it to those Zerg players that have been so dominant in GSL in the past. Stats' style has been both like revived, but also revised. Like he has come in here with a lot of, I think, more interesting pokes and timings. He's almost like a Protoss Zerg player. So in that sense, maybe he goes on and the Zergs can be happy about that. But then maybe I also am angry that no matter what, Zerg advance in GSL.
That's a hard sell, Taze. I don't think any Zerg.
Oh man, I'm getting all worked up just talking about it.
They're an angry bunch.
Yeah.
They're an angry bunch. I think I'm happy with either of it. I mean, SHIN has been playing great. It would be fantastic to have a Zerg. The only Zerg in the top 8 to make it into the top 4, so we have parity. But, I mean, also, I am fully sold on the story arc of Stats being back. I just want him to win this GSL.
Yeah.
At this point. I'm not afraid to admit it. I'm a Stats fan. And let's go into the final match. Stats versus SHIN. Winner going on to the top 4 of GSL.
Okay, Stats in the top left, SHIN in the bottom right. There's a probe making a beeline directly across the map. But usually this means that you're going to try to basically interfere with the first hatchery being planted.
Yeah, you just want to drop that down at the natural expansion. Don't let the Zerg expand. Time to bring back the Void Rays.
That's right. Get him out of Void Ray jail.
Oh, the hatch
Denmark
went down.
Wait, what?
I'm surprised. I was looking at the signs. I missed the time.
Your signs messed up our cast.
I'm surprised.
I don't know. Yeah.
That's a tight timing, but.
Well, that's weird because you send the probe out that early and then, like, you don't block the hatchery. It's actually pretty bad.
I think it's I could be wrong. I'm putting myself on the line. I think it's 46 seconds you have to arrive at to block the hatch if it's a 16 hatch, but I wasn't looking at the screen, so maybe it was a little bit late.
Well, if Stats is playing, it's probably 43 seconds to send it out and get it there just in time.
Yeah, I don't know. But
it is funny because, like, when you're trying to be the very best, everything has to happen at an exact moment. Not too soon and not too late. Like, you send a probe too soon and you've lost, you know, a resource or two that you could have returned. But then again, when you're trying to play perfectly and everything comes out just slightly too late, it's also really bad. So, you know, it's not the end of the world for Stats, but a little bit of a surprising bad start, considering.
It's not that bad. I mean, even the probe coming out instantly like this, going cross-map, yes, you are losing the mining time, but also you're kind of disrupting the mining time of the Zerg player as well. With this light worker harass that we're seeing, where the probe is stacking up on the double mineral patches and forcing the drones to bounce off of them, it eats away at a little bit of the opportunity cost of that probe mining. It goes down quite a bit. It's one of the reasons why scouting instantly is oftentimes advantageous over scouting kind of like after the gateway. You either want to do it really fast or you want to do it a little bit later. Gateway scout's kind of in the middle. You don't get any of the perks of elite scout, which is greedy, or early scout, where you get more information and you get to disrupt the economy of your opponent a little bit. And Stats just kind of playing this one normally. He's going for a really fast target behind this into Warp Gate with an Adept. And SHIN is actually making a lot of lings.
He's still making more lings. By the way, it's kind of funny. It does seem like SHIN just does not want to play a normal game versus Stats.
No, he does not. He's making even more lings, and he is hiding them.
So the Adept is out on the map. We're probably not going to see the lings stop for a while now. There's a big gaping hole in that entrance.
I need another gateway to seal that one up. No shield battery, the natural expansion. Of course, there's no reason for there to be a shield battery just yet. A little bit of a supply block there for SHIN. Okay, he's going to go back into droning. He's waiting for these Adepts to move cross-map. 5 seconds until speed is done. Gateway's there, but the Adept's not going to be done. There's no probe on the wall, and he's going to get in.
He's going to get in. This is going to be so bad for Stats.
Oh, no. The probe is a second late. It's a second late. Oracle is done. Probes have to stack up here in the mineral line or try to run away if they can. More Lings are coming in. Behind this, by the way, SHIN is droning.
Yeah, and this is so many workers killed. I mean, we're already at a dozen dead probes. It's going to end at that number. And now a canceled pylon after he loses more minerals with that.
I love it's like all the Lings are dead. It's like now we build the pylon and seal the hole.
It's like, no, I got to be efficient. I'm just going to lock myself in my base. I've already lost too much.
Oh, that was a lot of damage. 12 workers in total getting done. Stats needs to find some counter damage cross map.
But it is so interesting that SHIN keeps doing cheeses to Stats. Like, it says something. Either he thinks that Stats is a little bit weak early on, or he's actually afraid of the late game and feels like he can't play straight up.
Might be a little bit of both, honestly, against a player like Stats. Oh, he's actually going for this. SHIN was really smart, hit the Ling count. So these Adepts are going to find some damage. 3, maybe 4 drone kills, or just the 3.
Yeah, so not even cost efficient. The Oracles will now come in. I think the Lings are actually literally going across the map again.
They're going to cancel the 3rd.
Yeah, yeah. And the Oracles, normally the Oracles are there to protect the 3rd, along with the Adepts.
Oh, Stats actually warped in.
No, he's okay.
Warped in additional Adepts. 3rd Oracle, 2 to protect this. I was worried for a moment those would be the only 2 Adepts on the map, and then the 3rd would get canceled. But instead, these Lings not going to get too much done. In a way that kind of helps Stats a little bit because these Lings aren't drones, but also at the same time, he's kind of forced into making more Adepts than he would honestly like to. Because these Adepts are not going to scale well. Eventually, he's going to have to trade them out along with these, well, not trade out the Oracles, but pair them up with the Oracles and trade the Adepts out to try and find as much economic damage as he can. But thus far, the harassment hasn't really been that efficient here for Protoss. I mean, anytime you lose momentum like that to a ton of Lings getting in your base, killing, what was it, like 12 probes, it's really hard to gain it back.
Well, it's such a loss. You can keep developing somewhat normally, but it is tough. And you can see here, I mean, he's fine trading out a couple more Lings to just kill any Adepts he can get. This kind of forces the Adepts in here, which now will confirm the kills on those Adepts. So accumulation of anything right now is pretty hard here for Stats. He does kill some drones, which is nice, but even after everything that Stats has tried to do, it's still a game of catch-up where he's behind.
Does he not have a Forge and Twilight behind this? I'm just looking at his minerals and gas.
He just started at both of them.
Oh, it's so late. He's floating 600 minerals and 600 gas when he throws this down. I wonder if he was trying to bide his time and wait to decide what to build.
Yeah, I mean, it's possible. So the Spire comes into play. Spire is always a good move, I feel like, if the Protoss is really down. Because it forces them into a position where they have to respect this.
Well, Stats has been able to work himself up to worker parity almost. 60 probes to 66 drones. SHIN is still pumping more Lings out. Spire and the Roach Warren getting closer and closer to completion and upgrading Roach speed. I'm very concerned for Stats with this blink and +1 timing because I feel like the mutas are going to get cross-map. Oh no, these Oracles barely getting out. 11 HP on one of them. But blink and +1 are just so late here for Stats.
So it's going to be that blink style. There's a robo coming along with it. I think this is the only way you probably could play this out from being this behind, is to try to come in there and start going for trades and start playing from a disadvantage, trying to basically overcome. I think it's a little bit like what we see with Hero, only maybe a little bit more forced here because of the way this game went.
Well, he's going to try and do it defensively, I think, and I think Stats believes this is his only way of safely getting up to a 4th Nexus against a SHIN that has...
I kind of see what you're saying, actually.
Against a SHIN that is, you know, at least 1 tempo ahead of him. It feels really bad. And the thing is, this army from SHIN on the ground itself is pretty scary, but we also have a ton of mutas in production. At least 6 could be coming cross-map. These Oracles, if they're not careful, can get sniped. Oh, actually, they might be able to get some drones. That's good because these Oracles are going to lose a lot of value as soon as those mutas find them, although the mutas, I think, are actually keyed in on going for probes. Blink about 80% done. So the mutas come in here to the natural expansion. Oh, there's a photon cannon in the natural?
Yeah, that's going to buy a little bit of time. You know, that's a very kind of defensive Stats move there. It's all about preemption. There's also a cannon making here, but it's not done in time.
He must have seen the Spire, or at least been keyed in on this. That's a pretty good read if that was a read. I mean, that one photon cannon in the natural expansion bought him at least a couple of probes. You should have lost more. Oh god, I'm watching the minimap. Stats, please fix this gas. Okay. Always scary.
Okay, he blinks it again, trying to go for some more of these mutas. Oh, this is actually kind of bad by well, yeah, that's probably not worth it.
Got an Oracle.
Well, remember when there was muted tech?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was short-lived.
Well, he was never really going to commit to it. I think he just wanted to make the 6 to try and force some static D and get some probe kills.
Yeah, exactly. Now, you know, the development can't continue on for the Protoss. He had to make those cannons, like you were saying.
Yeah, and SHIN is now going into Lurker tech, so eventually ground is not going to be the answer here for Stats if SHIN decides to go really heavily into the Lurkers. As it is right now, with neither player necessarily close to max, this isn't looking too good for SHIN just yet. And obviously he's ahead in terms of workers, he's ahead in terms of tempo. His army's a little bit better here on the ground, but second robo here for Stats. I wonder if he's going to fully commit to ground and try and stop SHIN before he gets up to an insurmountable amount of Lurkers, because Skytoss is the answer to Lurkers here in this matchup. You don't really beat it on the ground unless you have some kind of advantage or you catch the Zerg sleeping.
Right.
And I think that's why we see now the Fleet Beacon coming in. His Stats knows it.
Ooh. Pushes him back a little bit.
Luckily for Stats, he still has at least one Oracle alive. Revelation is so good at dealing with these Lurkers.
Yeah. SHIN is still trying to advance on this. He basically wants to make sure that you can't get more bases than what he's got. Protoss would, I think, would ideally want. Ooh. Would you agree with this? You'd ideally want 5 bases here. Yeah. If you're going to go for carriers, like, you want 5 bases in all the gases.
You want as many as you can get away with, honestly, now, in this matchup.
There's a window of time where you could try to push in here pre-carriers, I think. And that's what we're going to see. The Storms are going to blanket this. There's a lot of Lurkers. There's a lot of other reinforcements. And, you know, Stalkers, I think some people might think like they can take Lurkers on, but they're not that tough as units. The Immortals coming in here could be handy. Is SHIN going to keep trying to push this? I feel like there's going to be a moment he's going to be overextending here.
Yeah, definitely an overextension. I felt like that attack to begin with wasn't looking too good. I mean, there wasn't too much support there for...
It just feels like there was a point where he should have like said, okay, we've come too far.
Oh, he's not going into Skytoss. He's going into Mothership. He's going to go back to the style he used against Dark in the round of 16, I think. Just a really powerful ground army coupled with double recall. Recall on the Mothership and recall back at home.
You know, it's crazy. I want to remind everybody that this game started out with those Lings killing 12 probes within the first couple minutes of the game. And, like, here we are. Stats is looking very, very strong. Oh!
You cursed him.
Yeah, SHIN's like, I remember, Tasteless. Thank you.
Lings go in the base. That's right. Oh, he's going to go for the Fleet Beacon. Oh, I think Stats is kind of feigning that he wants more Skytoss. He's throwing down a Stargate in the vision of SHIN right now. The Lings do see it.
Oh, he's so smart.
He's trying to feign this. SHIN
like,
runs
look,
the Lings
I need to
by.
make more carriers. Oh no! But yeah. I think he shouldn't be tricked because there's just one Stargate not making anything there.
He might think Stats is closer to max, or he might think Stats is supply blocked. I mean, it's not necessarily a tell.
Yeah.
You know, you can't know for sure. And the fact that SHIN went back to double check and confirmed that it is a Stargate getting planted.
Yeah.
SHIN might think this is a Skytoss.
We might have just seen him get tricked in real time. Very cool.
Although there is another Stargate in production, so maybe Stats is doing the double fake.
Yeah. Well, yeah, maybe he goes for carriers after he does the big push with the Mothership. Maybe that's the case as well.
Oh, we have a base trade situation coming in. There isn't another recall. Wait, where's the Mothership? Is the Mothership with the army, or is it back at home?
I don't see it anywhere. Oh, this Immortal.
Oh, these Lurkers are in such a good position. Yeah, I don't see the Mothership. In theory, if it's back at home, Stats could just recall in defense. I don't know where it is.
Now, he could try to come in here and surround these Lurkers and then do another attack out. The Mothership is north.
Yeah. Okay, he's recalling with it. There's no detection here for SHIN. There's no detection. The Lurkers can't see anything on the ground.
He should blink in.
There's not a single overseer. It's morphing. It's still out of view. The Stalkers are coming in. This is a huge win for Stats. So many Lurkers going down.
And even when it's done, okay, he's going to get some overseers in over here. He gets a nice burrow. A Storm does blanket that area.
Stats really needed a victory like that one. Still, he's basically on 3 mining bases. His economy not looking that strong, and he doesn't yet have the answer to these Lurkers.
And there's carriers coming into play now. I don't think that there's any game, or any situation in this game, I should say, where Stats can run around this army. You can see the Lurkers can basically just kind of run in tandem with where the Protoss is going and then settle down and block.
Time Warp and Storm coming down on this, slowing everything down. The Immortals on the left, focus firing down. The Lurkers, they are getting clumped up a little bit though, so the ones in the front line do fall, but Stats has done a really good job of resetting the army here for Zerg. Coming in, he's gonna be able to clean all this up without even the carriers. And Stats, he's retaking the 4th base. SHIN, still sitting only on 80 drones, has not taken a 5th just yet. Or excuse me, a 6th base. He's just sitting on the 5 hatcheries.
So both sides very low on money. I mean, it's not one of these games where the Zerg fights in and then refills everything. So the next battle is going to be even more important here. We need to see who's going to come out on top. It's been really even trading here. But the carriers are continuing to accumulate. He has 3 making now. I think he has 3 in the game here, so he's going to be up to 6. 6 in StarCraft 2 is a number where it could start to get pretty scary. If you can get that up to 8, it's just like a lot of damage is coming out. If you can really be good at kind of microing the carriers and keeping the weaker ones in the back and focusing on anything that would focus on the carriers themselves, you could do very well for yourself.
And especially with SHIN losing so many Lurkers in these past couple of engagements, he had to rebuild them. And Lurkers are very expensive in terms of gas, which means he's not really getting to build very many Vipers. He only has 1 on the field right now. He's morphing 6 more Lurkers, so he's really trying to win the ground game. But what I'm concerned about is the 5 carriers in the air, because if Stats is able to reach a max here on these 4 bases, as it looks like he's trying to gear up for a 5th Nexus over here at the 9 o'clock position. I mean, 4 or 5 bases here for Stats plus a max, and his army is going to be really hard for SHIN to beat. We only have, what, 11 Hydras on the map? We do have that the Spire for Corruptors later. There are more Hydras coming in to reinforce. This lucky Roach is going to actually scout this.
Yeah,
so
scouting roaches.
Yeah, SHIN should have a very good idea this is coming.
The buildup continues. SHIN maxes out. Stats is going to be maxing out a little bit slower because of how slow carriers make. It's going to be the same comps. Now remember that Stats doesn't have 5 bases where SHIN has more than 5 here. So, you know, I think what SHIN's trying to do is keep Stats as small as possible.
And that Viper really dangerous. Stats wants to defuse it here. Oh, he gets the Mothership at the same time the feedback comes in, so Mothership instantly gets sniped there. But now the carriers can actually get some work done, especially on these Hydras in the Time Warp. And this is a fight that is pretty cost efficient here for Stats. He is not plus 2 just yet.
Somebody thinks they're winning and they're wrong, okay? The Hydra count is getting low enough. He should be able to, okay, no, actually, apparently.
Well, there aren't enough interceptors left.
There's just not enough interceptors. I was watching that. I was like, I actually thought Protoss takes that, but there's just enough Hydras out there. Now, whenever you forced all the interceptors to be remade, that's where it gets scary, because that's where they're weakest. And I saw some Corruptors are being made here, and SHIN wants to slam into these carriers in between that and just crush them out.
Yeah, I think SHIN took that fight knowing the Hydras wouldn't win, but would thin out the interceptor counts.
Yeah.
Just so that he could remax here on Corruptors. I think he knew he was taking a loss.
This is so smart here from SHIN. He's playing a beautiful endgame against basically one of the best endgame players of all time in StarCraft.
Well, that's true. Stats is not out of it just yet. He has 9 carriers, plus 2 air weapons is done. I don't think we have Flyer Carapace here, so the carriers actually can put up a pretty good fight here against the Corruptors. Plus we have the Archons and the Storm.
Yeah, the Archons underneath could actually fuzzy the math of that here. Nice Storms. They instead try to dive in. They are under Archons. Another Storm here on the Lurkers to give ground sustainability.
Oh my god.
Dude, wow.
There just wasn't enough support there for the Corruptors.
Yeah, well, you know, it's funny.
There's Zealots of the natural expansion of SHIN as well. Stats might have just done this. 108 army supply. SHIN doesn't have the minerals to remax, really. He's only making 24 Hydras, but I don't think 24 Hydras beats this. GG, Stats is 1 game away from the top 4.
That was so cool. That was, so, like, honestly inspirational to see. Like, you saw the Corruptors come in, and I think we all saw the same thing. Like, yeah, this makes sense, right? Now you can take out the centerpiece of the army, which is the carriers. From there, the Lurkers are going to be too strong. The fact that he had the Storms on the moving Corruptors, and when you're coming in with the Corruptors, you're just going to try to right-click past the Storm and then set up and hit him. But the Archons underneath, the splash damage dealt, the final Storm laid on the Lurkers as they burrowed, because Stats already knew he was going to win the air fight. Now he wanted to ensure he closed out the ground fight. Suddenly it was a 100 supply or 101 supply SHIN that stood no chance. And let's not forget, look at SHIN laughing. It's like he's laughing, but he's not having fun. But he can't believe these games. SHIN got in there and killed 12 probes, guys. And then Stats was like, well, I guess I better get to 9 carriers a half hour later and win. And he did.
If you're SHIN...
SHIN's going to cheese again, man.
If you're SHIN and you lose game 1 after getting, like, what, 2 dozen lings into your opponent's nat, nothing's in the wall, there's no defenses, the adepts are cross-map, there's 1 oracle and probes, you kill a dozen workers, and you lose the game, I don't know what you do from there. Do you go with another cheese? Do you try to close it out even faster? Do you commit harder to the ling all-in? I mean, we're going to go to Ghost River here in just a second. SHIN is on the brink of defeat here. Stats is 1 map win away from the top 4.
All right, guys, Ghost River, let's do this. Can SHIN turn this around, or is Stats going to close us out and get that last spot in the round of 4? Okay, Stats in the left, SHIN on the right, both players hugging the top of the map. Yeah, I mean, I really want to see kind of from SHIN's perspective how he's going to open up. He has basically done something. Hey, thank you so much. Aww. We appreciate you and love you. From Romania.
A little hi, Mom stick figure right
Mom.
there, too.
Mom's at home in Romania watching.
She's the real GSL fan. She sent her son across the globe to carry on her spirit of loving GSL.
Do a dream hack a long time ago in Romania. Great place. So every game, SHIN has done something not standard.
Mm-hmm. I'm
now,
not
the
sure.
thing is, the more times you do this against somebody, the less it tends to work.
Yeah.
Or eventually you're like, oh, you're that guy that does crazy things at the start. Okay, I am going to just try to think of all the things you could do and make sure they don't happen.
Yeah, I'm not sure what SHIN is going to bring to the table here in this game, because so far today, he has lost, I think, every single game against Stats. I don't think he won one. He came very close. You know, in game 1 where he went for that Ling Flood early on, the Baneling bust, really, with a proxy hatchery. He kills 1 or 2 more probes, he probably wins the game. And instead, Stats barely had enough to get his economy back online. Game number 2 was another game where it felt like Stats was about to be pulled apart on all these different bases. SHIN was running around roaches in the main base in the natural, attacking the 4th, killing probes, getting damage done. And Stats, again, thread the needle, barely survived, and won. Every single game between Stats and SHIN has basically followed that same storyline, where Stats is defending and defending and defending and almost dying, but not quite. And then finally there's this pivotal moment where he sees the opportunity and he snatches it.
You know, it's funny, too, because when we talk about Stats like defending, and then winning the game, I'm not talking about crazy all-in cheeses that he survives. I was talking about, like, attacks on his 3rd base and he's trying to get a 4th base. And I was talking about those kind of games. So to see the games pan out like this has been wild.
He's the best defensive Protoss player in the world for a reason.
Stargate opener.
A little bit later than usual, I think, too.
And so far, sorry, not Ragnarok, SHIN, that's going to take me forever to get over. SHIN is not doing anything out of the ordinary.
No, he's playing relatively standard.
He's playing an honest game. Wouldn't it be funny if he won in 2 honest games after cheesing all the time?
He's like, I just needed to be a good person.
I had it in me all along.
I just needed to believe in myself and play the game with respect.
This series is a parable. This whole group is a parable about what kind of player you need to be to win. So, yeah, we're going to see the droning continue on. The Oracle's going to come out. Let's see how many Oracles he gets. And look, with Stats, I never really expect anything crazy. I respect, like, very respectful macro games, gentlemen's games.
I think it's just going to be pretty standard. He's taking that 3rd baseway. 2nd gateway is coming in. Adepts just scouting here in the natural expansion, retreating back home now that speed is complete. And probably 2 or 3 Oracles in total, especially with that Chrono Boost. I would think that we're going to get 3 Oracles in total on the map. And it might just be another standard game. I wouldn't be surprised to see Stats throw down a Twilight Council and a Forge in another 30 or 40 seconds, add on some additional gateways, get Blink, and just kind of play the game out by feel from there. I mean, he's shown time and time again how good he is in these defensive setups. And he's been able to navigate the mid-game so well against one of the best mid-game Zerg players in the world. I mean, even these Oracles coming in, finding some good damage. Not the best control there from stats. Still does get 2 drones.
So, a quiet game for once with these two. Forge, Citadel, and Development.
Oh, no.
Oh, he does take out that Oracle. It's pretty big. This one, he tags this
we
Oracle
doing?
in. Yeah, it's kind of funny.
Oh, jeez. That hurts. Losing Oracles like that's very expensive. Oh, no, these Adepts get caught in the middle of the map as well. This is an awkward time for SHIN to have so many lings.
It's dangerous to be shading out to gain ground on the map, because when you use that ability, if you're caught in the middle, you're going to get hit hard like this.
Yeah, now Stat's going to try and find some counter damage here in the main base. We'll be able to get one Queen as the other one is just sleeping on the job right here by the main hatchery. And some better control.
Triple kill over there on the in the main. Same over here. Well, hold on. He's got a couple lings over here. I think there's just barely enough to kill this Adept and then probably run back out.
Should be fine. And honestly, all things considered, it doesn't hurt Stats too much losing those Adepts in the middle of the map. Obviously, it's not great, but the whole job of those Adepts is to try and trade them out for drones. And in a way, because SHIN made so many early lings, and the lings got traded out the Adepts, it kind of serves the same purpose.
Right.
And as a result, both players dead even on worker counts, 58 apiece. 4 more gateways are going down, as well as Blink and +1 ground weapons getting chrono boosted here from Stat. This is around the same setup he's been going for pretty much every single game. Usually with some deviations coming down around the time he's taking a 4th base. That's when we see the fleet picking get thrown down. That's when we see potentially Storm coming into play, as Stats is continuing to develop on the left side of the map. Meanwhile, SHIN doing the same thing on his side, throwing down an Infestation Pit, preparing to go up to Hive Tech. Roachhorn as well. In terms of upgrades, I don't actually think we have any Evolution Chambers up for SHIN just yet, do we? I'm not sure he has any upgrades.
I haven't actually checked.
+1 range
let's see if we notice one here. Okay, so missile attacks being upgraded, so something, yeah, he's going to have an Evo Chamber somewhere. Now we're in the phase where the Stalkers are going to come out and try to push as best they can. You know, we had other games where SHIN's creep spread wasn't great. I feel like it wasn't that great even in the last game. I don't know what's been going on with that, but
it's a little bit lackluster. And I'm
even in this game, I'm thinking like I think you can have better creep spread than that. I'm not totally sure, because this map is, the more I cast a map, the more I see where the creep kind of goes.
I'm a little bit worried about SHIN right here. He is macroing up a very big army, but Stats is committing quite heavily to this attack.
This is a really interesting push. This is a push that comes earlier than normal and use the gateway basically as a launching pad for this. Normally, you know you're safe until the Robo comes out, especially against somebody like Stats. So he dives in. He's already sniped 1 Ravager. The Queens are kind of dangling on the outside here, so their overexposure could allow them to be sniped too here. The Stalkers are going to come in. They are a little bit jammed up behind each other. The 4th base is being attacked, although I think Stats is just going to cancel it. I think he wants to commit even further down here.
Yeah, there's no Roach speed yet. These Roaches are slow Roaches, even on creep, and so Stats is able to micro his heart out. There isn't even +1 melee or +1 range. Now the Nexus did not get canceled, so that is a loss here for Stats, but he is so fixated on the aggression here. This is like a build out of Heroes playbook. This is effectively an all-in. 30 Stalkers in total on the map. Oracles are going to try and deal with a situation that's developing here at the 3rd base, and they do it so effectively. Ton of Biles getting spread in kind of a scattered formation. SHIN with some nice control, but he's bled out so much army supply because these upgrades are so late. And the Stalkers are getting closer and closer to reaching something of a critical mass right now. I mean, we have more Stalkers potentially than Roaches and Ravagers on the field.
Yeah, the damage is continuing to mount over here. Now, these upgrades are inbound here for the Zerg. So, I mean, there is an out. It is, by the way, for the Zerg, the 4th base, it has no drones mining.
Very low economy game from both players as SHIN is just battling for his life right now. And this choke point here with the rocks is so good for Stats to retreat into, especially because there's no creep. And Roach speed is now finally done as his +1 range attack, and SHIN's going to try and inch his way forward here onto the Stalkers. Stalkers blinking back, dodging the Biles. Another favorable trade here for Stats. Oh, the Banelings are going to try and come in and bust this down, but Stats, he spots it.
Yeah, he does not actually dodge those Biles perfectly. Oh, the body blocking is real. A champion Stalker just gets in the way. And look at the supplies, suddenly, shockingly even. That's a bad sign for the Zerg. The fourth base is coming back down, and there's no counterattack to try to clean that up. Stats is going to pull back, make sure he has all of his tech, and then continue to attack in.
SHIN is mixing in more Lings, but soon we're going to have +1 armor Stalkers against Lings that don't have +1 melee attack just yet. They're only going to tickle these Stalkers. Bailing's coming in too. That is not really the tech. I mean, SHIN needs something, but he just doesn't have it yet.
Yeah, again, he's not able to really take advantage of his fourth base because he has to keep making anything that can attack. He's made more Banelings down here. These are far away enough. I don't think that Stats is going to see them unless he has something to spot.
We'll see. Stats it seems like he's on a hunt. He knows there's another attack that's going to be coming, and he's no longer all in. He's getting Storm. He's taking that fourth base. Oh, these Stalkers got to be careful there, Stats. But again, it's really hard for SHIN because there is no creep spread, really. It is hard for SHIN to defend this. Oh, the Stalker. Oh, a little bit too late. Oh, that warp in just barely clogs it up. And now with the stasis trap here as a bit of a force field, Stats is able to take another favorable engagement in the middle. He's just kiting SHIN all the way back to his base. And I'm sure SHIN saw those Templar in the third base, knowing there's a fourth Nexus underway, and his heart sank.
Yeah.
Because Stats, he isn't as committed as SHIN would have liked for him to be now that he's deflected the attack.
And it just seems like Stats always has the right number of units there. He's he never leans too hard with the pressure build. That's how so many good players die, is they're just trying so hard to end it. And you know, oh my God, he's going to spot that too.
His map awareness just all day today has been so on point. He's catching everything. And these Templar are soon going to have, what, 6+ storms? Double Immortal Production's getting online. And SHIN has basically locked himself into this composition that isn't that great. Now we have 1/1 Zealots against +1 Ling, so it shouldn't be that bad of a trade here for Stats. He's very close to max anyway, so freeing up this supply in terms of Zealots isn't really that hurtful. He's going to re-max instead on Immortals.
And we see that small army down here. It's going to be picked up. What's more important is that this denied the Banelings here. So you have two races on even numbers of bases, but it's the Zerg that wants to be further ahead. And now the Zerg that had to pump hard into a Ravager Ling, it has a suboptimal unit composition to the tech that's coming in here late game. We've got carrier tech again, by the way, State.
Might be just for a mothership considering how focused he's been on the ground. Even the Storm right there to add insult to injury on these Lings.
That's such a good tag, by the way, over here.
Stats right now, almost maxed, has more army supply than the Roach Ravager of SHIN, which is absurd. He's just saving a little bit of supply, it seems, potentially for that mothership. And again, his army is just exactly where it needs to be. It's the kind of guy that like I'd be streaming and I'd fight against, and my chat would just be, oh, this guy's hacking for sure. But Stats is just that good, man. All day today, his army positioning has been so on point. It's like he sees everything. He just has the star sense. And SHIN is kind of struggling moving around the map, trying to find some way to cost-efficiently trade out this army because he's going for that lurker transition, but
this Archon's going to catch this army with a baseball glove on. I mean,
there's 4 Immortals waiting here in the natural expansion. This attack's going to come in. Stats' army is almost completely across map, by the way. All right, SHIN, he's coming in. We don't have a recall here at the natural. Overcharge is going to pop there on that shield battery. Stats is retreating with the main army in the middle.
He does not take the pylon out. He does not opt to come back in. The Stalkers are going to blink in. Oh my God, SHIN is getting wrecked so hard.
And this isn't even Stats' full army. He's got this whole force down here in the bottom right now. Luckily for SHIN, Stats does not have detection, so he has to retreat from this position, but the 5th base is a prime target for these Stalkers and Archons.
He could just blink right up there. He could blink right over to that spot. I guess he can't because he doesn't have vision, but you get what I'm saying. He could just blink near that, start doing damage. Another great side storm here. Look, he backs away. He's just continuing to feed more and more damage to that. He comes in now. The Lurkers are going to come in just in time. I think the Stalkers can just stay out of Lurker range and kill this. In fact, he's just going to ignore the Lurkers.
Oh, and he's actually going to take this engagement. Another good storm right there on those 4 Lurkers. Oh, doubles the damage, too, because the Hydras walk on top of him.
So now it's Stats ahead in bases against the Zerg. The carriers are coming. That's always, the death sentence long term. But even without that, we're seeing, him basically manage and shut down movement on the map. And I got to say, it's so refreshing to have just proper control play Protoss.
I mean,
in a GSL.
Stats just playing this so well.
He's
this is the
so
macro
good at
toss
this.
we've been missing. All right,
Yeah.
Shin going for a counterattack here in the natural expansion. Ton of Lings and also Lurker's going to try and siege up that position. But Stats is going again for a counterattack. Half of his army is about to hit one of the only mining bases here for Shin over at the 3 o'clock position. That hatchery is going down at 3 o'clock. We're not getting a shot of it. Finally, now we are. As the Stalkers are just absolutely destroying it. And it's almost a base trade, but there isn't that much anti-air here. Keep in mind, we do have a recall available. Mothership halfway done in the main base as well.
I think he kills this base and maybe the next, and he recalls home. Yeah, he's going to recall home right now.
Oh, he recalls the army from the 3rd. He's still attacking at 9 o'clock or 3
I'm sorry.
o'clock.
Yeah, I thought that was the attacking army. I think we're moments away from Shin having to tap out.
Stats is just playing this so beautifully. It's incredible.
It's inspiring, honestly. He looks so good at what he's doing.
Oh, and now Shin's going to try and push up this ramp against Storm. He has nothing that can really breach this.
He could just keep tagging this over and over and making every right call on how to hit.
I know a lot of people.
Carrier, but
a lot of people were wondering if Stats advancing to the round of 8 was a fluke, but I think he is showing today
that destiny.
He is so much better this season than he has.
Dude, he's going to come in here and surround this army now. Look at this.
This positioning is crazy. He has the War Prism to reinforce there, too. Right now, Shin is going to be coming on the left side. The army from the Stats is a little bit slow working its way in from the natural. Shin right now is on 3 bases. He is basically all in. 44 drones, 111 army supply. Stats has expanded his way all the way down to the top left. The standing army back at home. It's still powerful. Shin does have a path to victory if he's able to isolate one of these armies and take them out, but his army just isn't that mobile. It's so focused on these Lurkers. Now, how many carriers do we have on the field? There are 2 more Stargates in production, 2 more carriers, 3 carriers in total.
Seems like the army in the back for Stats has finally softened up enough that there's actually an escape route here for Shin. The problem is that Stats, has beaten down Shin he's basically beaten him to a pulp. There's no bases left that are really economically viable. There's not a lot of money coming in for Shin, so he doesn't have a lot of room to try to expand. He has his own sort of roaming deathball army, but the reality is that there will always be an answer from the Protoss.
There's no detection again.
Yeah. Oh my God, you're right. Well, there's an Overseer coming here from the top, but
yeah, Stats just now realizes right before the Overlord or the Overseer comes in. Time Warp on the Lurkers. Stats just picking off the left side of this army so well. Storm on both the Lurkers and the Ravagers and the Hydras. Shin's army supply plummeting right now. We're going to have 2 Protoss in the top 4, Tasteless.
I mean, this has been such a crazy day. What an ending, too. And really, Shin tried everything. He tried the standard macro game. He tried every crazy all-in you could imagine. And, I mean, we're watching Stats just like, that scene in Karate Kid where he realizes wax in, wax off. It's like he's just blocking every little attack that's coming out. And that's it, GG.
Wow.
GG. Stats takes that final game, and he's going to get that final spot in the Final Four. What a hell of an evening.
I mean, Stats played today so well. Round of 16, first place Group B, defeating Dark, not a fluke. This guy is going to the top 4 of GSL, and he is showing the best play we've seen from Stats since he went to the military service.
Yeah.
It's like he never left.
Well, it looks like he's better than when he left. I mean, he's got such an upgraded, updated style.
And he can roll with the punches so well, too. He's losing bases. He's losing fights. He is at death's door in so many of these games, and he just keeps his cool. He knows exactly what he needs to do to come back.
And, honestly, like, Ragnarok was really good at trying to create opportunities for himself. So the fact that we were able to see Stats shut down that many counterattacks and just play like a really graceful game where the Zerg was burning through cash with his attacks was something else.
I mean, it just felt like every decision Stats made was the right one. And even when he did have errors, I mean, not having a pylon on the wall in here, the Lings get in, 12 probes go down. he played from that position so beautifully, and just being able to roll with the punches, like I said. Every single attack that SHIN throws at him here in the mid game basically gets parried. Or if it doesn't get parried, there's a counterattack coming in from stats that does equal or more damage. He doesn't mind losing the natural expansion.
Not at all.
He will use half of his army to take down your best mining base, your 4th base, full of drones, full of minerals. That expansion goes down. Yeah, he trades out his natural expansion, but you can't get into the main. He has Storm up there. He recalls. He plays positions perfectly. It feels like Stats is using everything in the Protoss arsenal. Let's hear what he has to say. So Stats, after 4 years, you have finally made it back to the top 4. Congratulations. How are you feeling? Well, since I was discharged from the military, I haven't been able to show my fans something they can be proud of. This is the first time I've shown the results that I wanted to show for my fans, so I feel so relieved and so happy. Well, a lot of fans are saying that we can see that the Shield of Ire is back. It's exciting. It's inspirational to see the Shield of Ire return. What is your secret? Why are you back to basically prime Stats? What clicked for you? And Stats says, well, I really don't know. It might just be practice. Even in a lot of these games, if they were played in practice, I got into positions where I would just tap out. But because I'm here in a tournament, I'm in this mood where I'm just trying to defend and survive as best that I possibly can. And so I was able to win those games. Well, tonight it felt like you got yourself in disadvantageous situations time and time again, but you were able to bounce back. It's like, yeah, that's right. I was at a disadvantage. I felt like I was winning in positions where I was at an extreme disadvantage. And in pretty much every single game, like for instance against Kier, I felt like in that situation, in those maps, when I got my carriers out, I really thought I was going to win. But that made me drop my guard, so I felt like I played at my best when I had my guard up. Well, you lost pretty much all of your probes. I don't know which game she's talking about because he lost so many different probes all the time. And what were you thinking in Stats as well? I felt like I lost the game. But somehow, after that tumultuous early game, I was able to defend all of the follow-up attacks, one after another. And I was also able to take fights where more of my army survived than I was expecting. And so I slowly got this feeling where I was like, wait, the tables have turned, I can win this. Well, finally, it seems like the Shield of Ire is back. A lot of fans are excited. Especially... Oh, they're asking because of the mine nerf, is this the beginning of Stats' era? And Stats is saying, well, even though mines got nerfed, I feel like I've just been able to win regardless of the mines or not. But, you know, even with the mines getting nerfed, I still have a bit of a curse with Terran, so I'm going to just try and open another era here in the semifinals. Well, you know, in the semifinals, you're going up against Hero, one of the most aggressive Protoss players in the world. Hero is arguably the best Protoss player in the world. And after I was discharged from the military, he helped me elevate my play so much. And personally, I think he's a higher tier player than I am right now. So I'm going to prepare the best I possibly can for that match. I know he's really aggressive, and I'm really defensive, so I'm just going to try and embrace my role and be ready to deal with whatever he throws at me.
네, 맞아요.
아, 자신만의 그 무기로
So,
진검승부를 기다리는
are you ready to show your
오늘
fans?
김대엽 선수 응원해주기 위해서 좀 국내뿐만 아니라
Are you ready to show that defensive Protoss can beat aggressive Protoss in a PvP?
아, 네. 진짜 시간이
Well,
벌써
you have a lot of
11시간
fans overseas that are cheering for you and excited to see that you're back in form.
주시러 오셔서 너무
What words do you have for them? And Stat says, well, even at my lowest, you guys were supporting me. I am so grateful for you. And also, thank you everyone for watching and supporting the GSL. I'm going to do my best for you guys. Wow.
Great night of games. A lot of different types of games, too. And we had these kind of beautiful back and forths where you didn't know who was going to win till the end. We had some crazy cheeses, base trades. We had that crazy closer at the very end there with, you know, Stats just kind of playing the ultimate end game. We had GuMiho's crazy weird style that sometimes worked and sometimes didn't. We got to cast Cure with the Liberators fighting the Thors. I'm like, well, how do these units interact with each other now? I'm not totally sure. Guys, our Final Four, it's going to be a PvP and a TVT. So no matter what, the finals will be a PvT. Hero versus Stats and Cure versus Maru. The semifinals are the same day as the finals. So if you want to see the finals, you got to come on the day that the semifinals are. I've had a couple people that get confused about that. They end up missing it. It starts at 5 p.m. If you're going to buy tickets for the finals tomorrow, I'll see if production can confirm this. It's 5:30?
5:30 p.m.
5:30 p.m. They go live 5:30 p.m. KST. If you're not in Korea, use your Google machine or your Chat GPT AI to tell you what time that is in your own time zone.
Make sure you get the tickets early, too. The finals, they will sell out.
They will sell out.
This is a small studio. It's the same studio we have GSL in every single week.
We have you know, mid-sized to light audiences through most of the season, but when the finals come, there's just a lot of GSL fans. Even foreigners in Korea that come down, that just live here, that want to see it.
The information, including the link to buy the tickets on the screen right there. You cannot get the tickets on site at the venue, even on regular days, and you're not going to be able to get them on the finals. They will sell out, so make sure you get those. I think
Don't
it's like,
be that guy. You're going to be in the studio. There's going to be that guy that can't get in, or that girl that can't get in. You're going to feel sad.
Entry 4 p.m. Show starts at 5 p.m. about an hour and a half earlier than we typically start, and
it should be a long night.
It might not be.
Maybe not, actually. PvP can be short. TVT can be short.
PvT also can be short, but
yeah.
Let me tell you, if Stats makes it to the finals, it will be a long night.
It will be a long night. Bring a tent. Bring
Stats,
a sleeping bag.
Stats versus Maru. Yeah, bring your sleeping bags, man.
Yeah.
But oh, that's going to be an excellent Final Four. Hero, Stats, Cure, and Maru. If you told me at the start of this season we were going to have 2 Protoss players in the top 4, I would have called you a witch and burned you. I would have not believed it for a moment.
I didn't know you were on Reddit all the time. That's cool.
But, man, really, what an excellent day of games. This was a longer day than usual, but as you were saying, Tasteless, we got a little bit of a taste of everything from GuMiho's crazy antics to really unique situations to Stats. It seems like coming back from cheese after cheese after cheese.
I mean, talk about resilience. The fact that he got wrecked that early and still recovered and then won, excuse me, the same way he always does.
He even said in practice games, like, yeah, if that was a practice game, I would just tap out. I would quit. Yeah. But it was a tournament, so I played with, like, my life on the line, and he won. I mean, talk about resilience. That was just pretty impeccable play. And
very cool.
Stats looks like maybe the best player in GSL this season.
Well, he's definitely this new iteration of Protoss that we just didn't see. I mean, not to take anything away from Hero, but Hero kind of had his own style. But to see Stats kind of bring this robust macro style is very cool. Thank you for joining us, guys. We will see you for the finals again at 5 p.m. KST. Bye-bye. Tickets go on sale 5:30 p.m. tomorrow. Get it. Bye.